Mr. Joseph and your team, we are not very sure whether we are safe based on the number we are seeing there. We want a minimum number there so that we can be sure there's something we can share. Mr. Chaka, are you in charge? Are we safe? Okay. Yes. Sawa. Mr. Mansu, nakuita uje utuombee tafadhali. Yes. Ama leo siku ya kuomba. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, colleagues.
Good afternoon.
We're sorry we are late, but I think where we're even responding a bit low is because we have not made use of this place. But Mr. Cosmas, I know, is working very hard to ensure that we have something to bite. And I will assure you that everything we see, we are going to consume. There's nothing we are taking back. So whether it's late or early, we'll consume everything. And if possible, do some take away. Okay. I want to have a volunteer to pray for us. Jacqueline, come and pray for us. You can breathe in and out and then you come. Let's come. You will pray for us.
Hi, I'm requesting that you stand up. Okay, let's pray. King above the earth, our Creator, our Assessor, my Father and my God, we come before you this afternoon. We glorify and worship thy precious name, God. We thank you for protecting us, O Lord, throughout the week up to this point of glory. My Father, my God, we worship you and we glorify your holy name, O Lord. My Father, as we are going to start this program, we ask you, Lord, that you lead us. Be with us, O Lord. Protect us, surround us with the wall of fire in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. And above all, O Lord, I'm asking that you send your guardian angels to protect us, O King of glory. My Father and my God, we ask you that you heal those ones who are not feeling well and those ones who are traveling to, Lord. We lay their lives unto thy able hands, so Lord, we ask you that you grant them thy eternal mercies, O King of glory. My Father and our God, we thank you, my God, for we know that you are with us this time and you will be with us until the end of this program, O King of glory. My Father and God, we worship and exalt thy precious name. For we pray this believing and trust in thy holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Once again, we are organized people and will be able to make use of the time that is remaining so that we achieve one or two at the end of the day. At this point, I want to welcome Donna Charles to say hi to us. After that, we have two guests who are with us to take us through in some program. I know sometimes we don't like having such programs in such a forums, but it's just a matter of teaming up with us as we work out this day. So after that, we'll have one of our guest speakers to take us through some brief session. Then we proceed to breakfast. Then we'll assemble here again. Then we go for lunch. Then after lunch, we go and I know there are some who want to swim. It's okay. We'll go to swimology. Then those who want to play, they can play before we call it a day.
Right, not taking so much of your time. Good afternoon. Very good. I think we're just out here today to relax a bit, take some fresh air. Sometimes the work environment can be, could I say, very challenging. And therefore today we want to see people very active in various activities so that at the end of the day our objectives are met of ensuring that we are refreshened a bit. We might not necessarily have a lot of time to get to know who is who, but however, as we engage either taking a meal or playing, I guess you take some time to know other people. At least can you take some initiative to know a few new faces you've seen today, they serve in which capacity, in which center. I guess that would be able to help us. And I also extend, some challenge to the singles that I'm seeing very beautiful ladies around, very handsome young men, but for those of us who are already taken, kindly stick to your lane. And you focus, right? Yes. By the way, at the end of the day, what is life? If that is not what life really is all about. I mean, there's nothing much if you follow it, So at this point in time, I'd wish to welcome Mwai. Mwai has been with us in the past. He's been a friend of Visionary, and he continues to be. Out here, we just want to share, and I think that is why he's here, and that is why we are in such a setting that we are in. So unaweza kupiga picha waambia watu ulikuwa California, and you post on your WhatsApp status. I came to realize that those of us, every day we have new status. I think that is good, and this is one of it. Solomon was being looked for. I've just seen him, Mr. Kotiego, so don't be worried. Initially, people were wondering if he had disappeared. He had some ladies also in that boat, so anything is possible. But we thank God that man he has seen the light. So, Bwana Mwai, karibu sana.
Hello. Jambo. Wewe tuko chini tafadhali, habari zenu? Tumekasirika ama nini naendelea? Oh, jam. My name is Munene Moi. I'm a counselor psychologist and Visionary Academy. I'm not a visitor. In fact, we are neighbors. Hata nikiangalia naona quite a number of people whom I know, because we've interacted for quite some years. The purpose of this meeting this day, kama vile Bwana Charles amesema, si kukuja kukua so serious, ni kukuja kurelax, getting out of our environment or working environment, so that we can enjoy, we can feel free, we can make friends, we can feel at peace, we are out of our working phase. I just had some concern because I'm finding like we are a little bit so squeezed, and we wanted to have an environment where we can do some stretches here and there, so that by the time we are going home, sababu nimesikia imesemekana chochote kile kiko hapa lazima watu wakule na wamalizi. Nimesikia ili pia tukue na space ya kuweka. Now that said and done, we have a few things that we want to maybe to take ourselves through. We want to go through some team building and attitude building, because if I am not aware of whom I am, there is a likelihood that I will be doing things contrary maybe to what I want to do. Na kama sijijui, sitajua hata mwenzangu. So the first thing we want to do is concerning the self-awareness. Ili nisiruke kwa maji nikifikiria sababu nimeona mtu mwingine ameenda kuogelea na mimi nafanya nini? Nimesikia ameitwa Abraham ama nini? Solomon. Yeah. Solomon alikuwa ashajipeleka kwa maji. Yeah. Na mimi ile maji mingi nishaona nikiwa kwa karai. So already this is too much for me. We create an awareness. We learn to, what is self-awareness? Na natakiwa nijijue mpaka kiwango gani? How much can I know myself? Even as I'm working at Visionary Academy, I have a very strong self-awareness such that as I interact with the students, as I interact with my colleagues, I know at what level I am interacting with them. Ili nisifike kiwango ya kwamba hata tukisalimiana with my colleagues, tunasalimiana in such a way that ni kama habari yako na yangu utaiweza. Lakini nikifanya without having a self-awareness, I might do more harm than good. Mwalimu anapatanga either of the two. You are either blessed or you are cursed. Because a teacher deals with vulnerable population. If I don't know exactly what I'm or how I'm going to go about, then I might end up messy. So at this time I have come with Dr. Kingori, who will tell us more about herself and tell us something about self-awareness. Tukiendelea kujuana. So Daktari, karibu.
Because most of the time we are introduced by others and we become contented and we think that we have been introduced. Therefore, I want to introduce myself. Probably when we meet again, you'll be able to know who Jacinta is. So my name is Dr. Jacinta Kingori. I'm a lecturer at Cooperative University of Kenya, somewhere in Kalen. But before I went to Kalen, we were working with Mr. Moy, and I think this is the father. No, this is not the first time I'm talking to people from Visionary. Probably, what do you call it? Is it school or school? Oh, okay. And Jacinta has two professions. I'm a counselor, and I'm also a lecturer or a teacher. So before I went to counseling, I had around 17 years of teaching in a secondary school. I went to the public service for 6 years. Now I've been in the university for the last 5 years. So the students that you are uploading are coming to us. We concentrate a lot on other people. We want to know how we can make students pass the current teaching methods and all those things. But we forget that we also have a right to live. And therefore, I want us to talk about self-awareness. So do we really know ourselves? Even when we do whatever we do in life, when we are teaching, we teach when we do not know ourselves. As we are parenting, we parent when we do not know ourselves. We do everything, and sometimes we do not know how our lack of self-awareness impacts on others. So there are very many issues about self-awareness, but I intend to talk about only one aspect of self-awareness, and that is self-concept. Now, I want to say what self-concept is, and probably how it affects teaching learning process. Now, I'm not I want to define what self-concept is, because every one of us has a self-concept. So it is something that is common in all human beings. So we need to know what we mean by self-concept. Self-concept is the way we view ourselves, the way we think about ourselves, and the way we evaluate ourselves. So, as a person, how do you view yourself? Because the way we view ourselves, can be categorized in two ways. One, I can view myself negatively, and therefore I develop what is called a negative self-concept. And people who have negative self-concept, they just look at themselves and they get themselves very happy. I'm not as good as so and so. I have not been able to do this, I have not been able to. Those are the people, even when you are working with them, you will have a problem. Even when they are dealing with the experience of the people, you will have a problem because in the past years, they cannot appreciate what they are doing, and they are not able to appreciate their clients, they are not even able to appreciate.
Kuku amesajinsa bwana, kuna kuku.
Nasikia kuku mkaribu.
Zishachinjwa. Kuku sio wanaume. Cameraman. Sawa. Lakini sema tusikia unajua nani wewe atakapokuja niweke bani wewe wacha ile alafu ingine ndio matumbo ndio chakula mzuri kushinda hii nyama. That the teacher is the best role model. So if the teacher has negative self-concept, the child or the children also they develop negative self-concept. And when I look at it, I see it as a unique profession. So probably that is why myself they can explain. For example, an estimate. Yes. 5 points. Okay. Another time. 5-3. Not really. That is very close. 5-2. The person who has said 5-2 is correct. So what we are saying, every one of us has a public domain. And in our public domain, we keep the information that is open and accessible. For example, issues of height, I cannot hide that information is in the public domain. Issues of my skin color, you cannot hide that one because it is the public domain. Other issues probably about whether we have a family or not. By the way, whether you have a family or not, should it be in the public domain or in the private domain? It is private, whether I have a family or not. It is not important to know whether so has been taken.
You don't have to go telling every Tom, Dick, and Harry whether you're married or not. That's something private.
So, but we are talking about in a situation where you are working together. Is it important? Yes. It is important. So that there are some people, those who are free to mingle, they can mingle.
And those who are to speak on their name, they speak on their name. It is very important. However, I have seen people who you probably work with them and they will not even want to be known whether they are married or not. Their marital status, it is private. What about age? It's private. We don't want to be known how old we are. What about the size of probably if you have children? Should people know whether you have children and how many they are?
Those are private things. You don't have to go telling everybody that I have 10 children.
No, I'm not. We are not saying everybody. I'm saying those people we work with. Where you spend most of your time.
Even the people you work with, they should not know you inside out. Everything about you. He has 10 children, 10 wives. I mean, some things are private.
But I'm asking.
50 years old.
I am a mother of 3.
The ones in the public domain, those are okay. Somebody can see your height, somebody can see your skin color, you're a black African like me. But other things are private. Yes.
Other things are private.
Only for those who are concerned. Those are the people you can tell.
As we go on, we shall see what should be put in the public and what should be put in the private domain. But what we are saying, sometimes when you put what is supposed to be in the public domain and you try to hide, sometimes it brings a lot of problems. So let's go before we decide on what to put and what we should make our colleagues know about ourselves and what they should not know. So the private domain is the information that we keep that we cannot hide from others, open and accessible to everybody. And especially when we are working with people, it is good that they know or they have some of the information that we keep away from them. The other domain we have is the private domain. Everybody has a private domain. Each one of us has a private domain. And we make a decision on who information that is supposed to be in the private domain. Probably I get a colleague, I tell them this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through. And instead of keeping the information as private, people just tell others. And can you see so and so is so quiet nowadays? This is what they are going through. It is not right. Because if I wanted to tell everybody, see the other means I can use. And everybody will know this is what Jacinta is going through. But when somebody decides to open their private domain to you, make sure it remains private. And if you are not ready to put it, you are not ready to keep it, please tell them, go and tell somebody else because I will not be able to keep it a secret. I remember one time, Mo is not around, I don't know. We had one time a friend, we were working in the ministry, and he had not finished his master's. He was just remaining with the project, and there was some advert somewhere for promotion. And therefore, he could not get it because he had not graduated. And he decided to forge a certificate. So he went to the registry. I don't know how he was able to get one of our certificates, especially those who had graduated from KU, so that he would see the standardization. And when he did that, he came and confided with one of you. You pretend, you give ideas, you even look for a place where he can have where he can have his certificate done. And after that, you report in the evening. And eventually, before 1 week was over, everything was over for this person, including being suspended. 6 months later, he was called for disciplinary and he was sacked. And he was even being told, you are very lucky that we have not been able to jail you. We should have taken you to jail. So, when I looked at that issue, and somebody was discussing with you, somebody had opened the private domain. This is what I'm going through. This is what I require. This is what I'm doing. And then in the evening, you are also reporting. Are you getting what I'm saying? So when people decide to open their private domain, let that information stay with you. The person could have used other means to tell people rather than to use you. So let's not really make people feel very bad. Sometimes you can even make somebody even run away from work. Probably they have shared with you something very intimate, and you have decided to make it public. The following day they are wondering, can I really go to work? Can I really face the other teachers in the staff room? And it is actually you who made that teacher feel very uncomfortable. That's why it is called hidden. And the information that is contained there is the information probably would go out there will cause some embarrassment. So unasema wacha hii nikufe nayo. So the sizes of those three domains matter. The private domain, the public domain, and the hidden domain. As a teacher, or somebody who is factoring knowledge, there is the size of the hidden domain that is supposed to be there. We are not saying that people should not keep things to themselves, but what they should keep should be very little. Very little. When you keep a lot of information to yourself, you become withdrawn, isolated and withdrawn. And most of those people who have a very big hidden domain, they are usually isolated and mahali anafanyia kazi. And then people don't even know whether to say hi because you are very unpredictable. The person is isolated and withdrawn. Very little is known about this person. They share very little. Those are the people with very big hidden domains. Because they think that everything should be private. And that's why I was saying that sometimes it's good to see what the kind of information you have. Should this one be in the private domain? Should this one be in the public domain? There is also a problem. That everybody knows everybody knows everything about it. It becomes a problem. Because at the same time we say privacy is very, very important. In fact, privacy is the matter. If you follow the secret, if you keep all the don't allow the hidden to be very big. And at the same time, don't problem to attend to everyone. And therefore, we should become a bigger private domain. A bigger private domain means that you have a few people who share. Akisikia hivyo anasema sasa sitaki ufanye nini? Ukufe, wacha nikuje nisikie what you are saying. So what we are saying is that we should have support system, friends who are committed and people who are genuine. Those are the people we are saying. So they require, and there are 4 components. One, we have self-image. Self-image is the picture we have about ourselves back in our minds. When you are seated the way you are seated here, what picture do you have about yourself? When you are just listening to yourself without other people, how do you judge yourself? What kind of picture? If you are taking a selfie, for example, if you are taking a selfie of yourself, what picture do you have about yourself? There are people with very negative self-image. They see nothing positive with themselves. They compare with themselves with others, and they think they are not very good. So our self-concept is formed by the feedback we receive from other people. So that child that you are modeling as a teacher, the child will either develop a positive self-concept depending on the feedback that you are giving them. If you tell this child that you are just good for nothing, there is nothing that you can do good, and sometimes we do not know the kind of harm we do to our students. I happen to have a cousin, is a cousin to my husband. And what happened is that I think the mother was not very keen. You have seen people who are going to have some kids up there. What are they called? The boy has almost double. So the boy went to school. the boy went, I think when he went to school, the teacher in lower primary was teasing him and asking him, now who will ever love you? Will you ever get a girl to marry you? And the boy developed a very negative self-concept. Now, he tells me that when he got to the university, and he met a class 8 dropout, a girl who had dropped out at class 8, and appeared to appreciate him, he married that girl. Because down, inside his mind, he thought he would not get somebody who would appreciate him, because the teacher had already said, and you can not get a girl to marry because of my teeth. And the boy developed that kind of a negative self-image. So the first girl who looked like appreciated him, probably he just married her in first year in the university. So you can imagine coming from a very humble background, as a girl who is a class 8 dropout, and now cannot even make ends meet. They started trouble, and he has tried suicide. When he was at the university, he tried suicide like 3 times. Because he had a lot of trouble. This is the person he thought would clear his tears, but it was not possible. So what we are saying, the feedback you give to the children, the feedback you give to the people that you interact with, it's very, very, very important. Even when you see a student is performing very poorly, just encourage them. Just tell them it is possible. Just tell them they can make it. But that the feedback you give is very, very important. It will form their self-image. So most of the students we see around with very negative self-image, probably we may have caused it. Even as parents, because we have families, we have parents, and those who do not have children, they will still get. It is also very important to help your son or your daughter form positive self-image. And it will be dictated by the kind of feedback that you give them. The second factor that dictates our self-image is the feedback that we give ourselves.
And I'm getting afraid the rate at which things are going on there. I'm not sure whether we will have something. We are going to check you keenly. Mr. James Wawel, are we safe?
Or high self-esteem. People who give themselves very low value, they develop what we call low self-esteem. So I want us to look at some of the characteristics of either high self-esteem or low self-esteem. So for low self-esteem, people with low self-esteem will keep on complaining. So every time they are given a task, they will complain. They will complain about everything. They will complain about the weather, they will talk about the environment, they will complain about the students that they are teaching, they will complain about the management, they will see nothing positive about the whole thing. So if you find yourself complaining all the time, then you catch yourself. Am I suffering from low self-esteem? Is it that in this institution there is nothing positive, that everything is negative? People who keep on complaining. And then people who are always seeking attention. So, unasikia mtu anasema, na tulifanya hii kazi, tuliperform hivi, and nobody is noticing. You know, sometimes you don't need to be noticed. So if you are fond of complaining, you want to be noticed, you want to be appreciated, then there is some element of low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem also are carried away by others very easily. So you find people are talking about this, people are complaining about this. You are not even involved, and you join the discussion, and you start probably talking about how you are going to tackle it, and it does not even affect you. So people with low self-esteem will always be carried away by others, and that's why you look at the children who are always carried away by others, especially who probably lead strikes or they join the strike. Most of them have low self-esteem. Sometimes even you find them and you ask them, by the way, where are you going on strike? Where are you striking? And some of them will even tell you, I don't even know. I have just. You'll be able to see somebody who has low self-esteem. Mtu anatembea kama amejikuja, ni kama they don't know where they are going. It is very early in the morning. They are walking gradually to the gate. You know, it's like you don't want to get in. But watch them go out in the evening or in the evening when they are getting that, then you know that this person is ready for work. This person is ready for work. This person is this person is when we have
Unaweza osha aje hiyo chakula bwana? Unaweza osha aje bwana? Unaweza osha aje bwana? Excuse. Mtu unaoshaje chungu yani nyama bwana? Maensa style.
The job belongs to the employer. So if you think that the career belongs to the employer, then you have every time the third component of our self-esteem is our body image. How do we look at ourselves? Our body image is about the attitude about how we look. Do we appreciate how we look, or do you look at other people and think probably they are better off, and probably you would want to be like this, you would want to be like the other person? It is not positive. But if we appreciate ourselves the way we are, even the students that we are teaching, even the students that we are modeling, will also appreciate themselves. It is very easy for students to know, to identify teachers who appreciate themselves and teachers who have issues with themselves. And I always tell people that we are made, our DNA is unique. That probably if my DNA was just analyzed, probably not even Kenya, probably the samples were sent to South Africa. The person analyzing will be able to describe Jacinta even when they have not seen them. They'll even say the height, they'll even be able to tell my height. The person will be able to tell the color of my eyes. The person will be able to tell my skin color. All those analyses. Then, if that is the case, if a DNA is already coded in if there is a DNA coded in myself, why should I then really worry the way I look? I'm not saying that people should not practice good grooming, but it should not worry so much about probably why am I not as tall as this person, why am I not as right as this person. Those things don't really matter. And when you appreciate yourself, you also impact on the children who you are teaching, and your performance in your subject or in the area where you are working will be okay, because the students will appreciate themselves. They look at themselves as people who are valuable. But if they see you are not appreciating yourself, they'll also have the same problem. Now, sometimes we wonder about body image, and
By the way, before I move from body image, I would want to say that body image carries all the others. So our self-esteem will be dictated by our body image. Our body image, our self-esteem will be dictated by our body image. Our self-image will be dictated by our body image. So the more we appreciate ourselves and the way we do, then all the other components will follow. Then there is also this aspect of personal growth. Probably there's a conflict, or there's a very big difference between what I want and what I am now. There is a lot of frustration. So probably I'm a teacher today at visionary, or I'm not confident. But I'm just putting there and we want to somewhere. What happens is that, and so also frustration will go down to the clients that have come. The children are pushing to have a lot of frustration. They are being measured, they are being self, and they are being self-added. If what I want to be and what I am are very different, please move to what you want. Very different with their life. So what I know what you want to do. What you want to do. What is your real self may be a teacher. But what when I was teaching, I did my PhD when I was teaching, is that sometimes we also become enemies of ourselves. As people are talking about teachers are like this, teachers are like the other, we also become enemies of ourselves. The kind of things that we do, the kind of company we keep, such that probably if people followed us to where we live, they would wonder, people would wonder, is this really a teacher? I don't know whether it happens elsewhere. There's a place where I was teaching, in the rural areas. And there was this teacher who was very good in biology. He was called Mr. Karogo. But Mr. Karogo had one issue. Whenever he would get money, he would not come back to school until the money is over. And when the money is over, he will come back after, when his shoes are torn, because he cannot afford another pair of shoes probably before the end month, he would wear slippers and put an elastoplast. So, and people, whenever my parents who would see him out there would work, now we will be more. And Mr. Karogo was a very good biology teacher. And what he would do was, because he wants to get to have a very close relationship with the students so that he can be borrowing their money. Wakienda yulaino unampata hapo. He was a very good examiner. He would teach students and they would pass. But everybody would wonder, now who is Mr. Karogo? When he brings out there, the kind of songs that you I know there is no time. It's already after 1, and probably Moi needs to say something. I wanted to say something. If you have a negative self-concept, you can still change. And one thing you can do, you can stop probably comparing yourself with others. You take yourself the way you are. This is myself. This is what I'm able to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I will not judge myself harshly. So, I don't know whether there is any question I want to add there. Probably if there was time, we would have taken a bit longer time. I can see the...
Yeah, there's a question, madam. No, my voice is loud enough, don't worry. Okay. I think everybody can hear me. Madam, I've been listening keenly to what you have been saying.
Yes.
There's only one area where I don't know whether there was I'm the one who never got you well or there was some confusion.
Yes.
You said that those who have low self-esteem,
Yes.
when there's even say a problem,
Yes.
they're always the ones who are trying to suggest what they can do. I thought that looks like a contradiction, because those who are always trying to give the impression that they know how they always have suggestions for something, those are people who are having high esteem, not low esteem.
Did I say that?
Yes, that's what you said.
What I said, I talked about people with low self-esteem being carried away by others.
No, But you said that they always have some solution to a problem. Those are people with high esteem, not low esteem. But you said it when you are dealing with people with low esteem.
Okay,
That's why I thought that maybe there was a mix-up.
Okay, then we make this one very clear. They will try to offer solutions even when they are not involved. So people are complaining because of something that has affected them. But they will join them trying to offer solutions and when they do not belong.
But you see, people will always want to offer solutions. Those are people who are having high esteem. They think that they know everything. They think that they have a solution for everything. That's not for people who are having low esteem. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, what I'm saying is, even when you offer a solution, you offer a solution appropriately.
Yes.
You don't need to join people and probably offer a solution where it has not been solicited. Where probably people are doing something and you are not even part of them. In fact, when I was talking about offering a solution, I was talking about people with low self-esteem and they are carried away by others. When people are saying haki yetu, even when your haki yako haiko hapo, you will join them. That's what we are talking about. And even when people ask you, why are you carrying twigs? You don't really know because you are not part of it. But because you have seen people walking, you have decided to walk.
Okay, maybe a second area where I wanted to give a comment. I agree with you when you said that when somebody wanted him to become a nurse and maybe did not manage to join the nursing school or did not join, nowadays they do nursing even at degree level, and ended up being a teacher, they should maybe forget about that teaching and go for what they think that they like. But I think we have many cases where you may even find that there are people who want even to become engineers, but they never got the grade. So eventually they ended up being maths and physics teachers. Maybe the best way of putting it is that instead of telling people that they should then leave that and go for what they want, you should have tell us that we should accept what God has given you and find a way of liking it. I think that's a better way of putting it. Accept what has given you. If you cannot get what you want. If you cannot get what you want, accept what God has given you and find a way of liking it. I think that's a better way of putting it, Instead of saying you leave that and go for what you want, because maybe that person may not get what he or she wants. So encourage us now to accept what God has given us, okay. And then like it,
Okay, I think now I was saying that because there are some people who squat in the teaching profession for the whole of their life, and they keep on ruining students. There are people, especially where I teach, sometimes you get very many scripts. You find you have 1,000 and something, and you think, because this is not something that I have wanted, I will not mark those scripts, I'll just put marks. So that's why I'm saying, you'd rather go to something you enjoy, rather than keep on hanging on to teaching when you are not meant to be a teacher.
But madam, you said you are Kenyatta University. I was also a student there, and you no longer not 4, next to the student center.
Mr. Pio, thank you for your contribution. Yes. In the interest of time, some of the issues I think we can fix them later. I think to summarize Madam's lesson, I pray that the number of issues that she's cancelled us here and there, ranging from our self-image, self-esteem, and all that, are lessons we can pick very positively and run away with. By the way, these are issues we mention in our workplaces anytime we have a session. It's just that sometimes, you know what they say, a prophet is never appreciated in his home country or home county. If I want to do this lesson outside, people would appreciate me and say that is wonderful. But if it comes from Charles, mutasema tushazoea. He would always say that. He would always tell us to buy a new shirt, but he is not increasing the salary, right? So basically, the point is, let us not wait for a salary increment to buy a new shirt, right? She's talked of us being able to have the right picture about ourselves so that we can use the same to help our students have the right picture about themselves. And I must tell you the truth, that some of us sometimes, because of our frustration, perhaps you're even teaching learners who are not getting the subject, you feel like, this is too much, I can't do this. And by the way, even in our midst, we are not just having teachers We are having our front office people, very important. We are having our drivers and their assistants, very important people. We are having our cleaners. We are having the kitchen department team here. If you want to know how serious the kitchen department is, see, you are used to having tea in the morning as you come to school. 10 o'clock, you expect tea. There's going to be some lunch, and some of our centers there is tea at 4 o'clock. Let it miss one day. In fact, people will be on a go-slow that day. And that is when they'll remember all the bad things that have happened in the institution. Bottom line is that everybody in whichever area they serve, whether it is a cleaner who could not get hold of any other job, and that is what they are doing at the moment, they must learn to love that job. There's no two way about it. Because that's what you're doing today. You know? If it is a driver that is today driving and it's not really something that they like doing, you have to wake up so early in the morning. At 4 a.m. you are up because you are required to be in Isli at 5 a.m. Right? You would end up hating that job because of the time you wake up. And therefore, what I think Madam is saying is, can we learn to appreciate that job? But then, in appreciating the job, you have to deliver. Because, if you remember, one member of parliament we had some time back that used to be called Otieno Kajwang. Otieno Kajwang then could ask, so what passionometer do we use? And when he would say it in the Luo dialect, it would be so nice. It will come out, in another way. So bottom line is, guys, as we move out of that session, I think we are just being called upon not to squat in our workplaces. Because for sure, unajua kuna watu wana squat hapa kwetu. Na mnajua si ati hamjui. That one you know. There are people who are squatting for the next job. There are people who are squatting because in the papers it has been written TSC is employing 5,000. So every time they come to work, what is in their minds is TSC is employing 5,000 and I am part of the 5,000 people. And as a matter of fact, then it means like the international system that we offer, because you know very well that it will not be required in the TSC job you are going for. So even your preparation is mediocre. Totally mediocre, because you say, after all, what's the big deal? See, I'm getting the job anyway. Right? But the question is, who is helping you pay rent today? Is it TSC? Talk to me. Is it TSC that is paying you your rent? Paying your rent rather? It's not. There is somebody who is helping you pay those bills because you are offering your services. So then, what is there? Give your very best where you are today. And don't squat. So kama kesho, God willing, unajua Kenyans, how we think, tunasema, you only get a job when you work with government. Or you only get a job when you work with the big boys. And your definition of big boys, you know what it means. So basically, therefore, unless that attitude is able to move away from us, then for sure every day will be a squatting day. And as she said, a very important point. And then for sure, hey, munajua, the moment it is time to go home, it is when you will see the kind of haste you have never seen in this world. And I must say that it's not all of us, but a few of us, you would see them with some kind of haste when they're coming to work in the morning. But in the morning, we go relax. So bottom line is, guys, let us speak the lessons very positively, and I'm sure they'll be able to help us. I don't know, Madam, whether you're doing.
I think I have only a few things to say, because I have heard that you are mixed. If you are called to be a sweeper, even if you are sweeping the streets, do it like to an extent that even the angels in heaven will say and confess that there is a street sweeper who does it very well. If you have been called to be a teacher, do it with all your heart. The other thing that I would want to tell you, I teach at the Cooperative University of Kenya. I don't know whether probably you have joined cooperatives, but joining a cooperative is a very good thing. We have even cooperatives for our students. We have a cooperative for our students. They come, they save 10 shillings per day. So the money that they are given by parents for food, they save 10 shillings per day. So in a month, how much do they save? 300. You can imagine from the money that is given by parents. If they are given 50 shillings to eat in a day, they spend 40, they save 10. And it assists them sometimes when they have no school fees, they are able to correct their money, they are able to borrow from the cooperative. What about us? Even if we saved 300 per month, would it hurt? Does it hurt? So it is very important. If a student can save 10 shillings per day, and they are able to pay for school fees, probably for a semester in the future, what about us? So even as we work, even as we wait to get other jobs, if we are looking for other jobs elsewhere, make sure that you join a cooperative, make sure that you save something in your cooperative. If a student can save 10 shillings, why not you? Okay. There's a question. There's somebody who was asking a question.
Thank you, first of all, Madam Kimori, for such a wonderful session. Now, there is a story which you gave us about two people. The other one confiding in the other, maybe to get a certificate, and then he reports to the management, to the people who are doing the interview. I was looking at that story. It was a moving story. But how can we personify this person who actually decided to betray the other? The person confided in him. Then he never got a master. He did not have a master's certificate, so he wanted to go and forge it. So he decided to let his friend know. He confided in his friend, and then he told the friend everything. Then the friend, instead of telling the truth or maybe to go about it, decided to report the matter to the management. So the management were waiting. Now, I just wanted to know the essence of this story, and how do we personify this person who reported the other?
So I think what I wanted to mean is that when somebody decides to share or to welcome you in his person, in the public domain, in the private domain, please, whatever they share with you, keep it confidential. If you know you cannot keep it confidential, you can stop them from giving you information. Because as much as this guy was not doing a very good thing to forge a certificate, the other one was even doing a worse thing. Because he was getting information from this person, and in the evening he is reporting somewhere else. So I thought probably as a friend, what he could have done, if he did not want to get involved, he should have dismissed the friend and tell him, now I don't need to continue discussing this with you because of this 1, 2, 3. But it is very good, it is very wrong to betray a friend. You are getting information from a friend, very confidential information, and then in the evening you are giving to other people. That's why I was saying, especially when we work with our colleagues, it's very important that we become trusted friends. Where we are working, probably that's where we are spending our longest hours. And probably I would want a friend who I can share with. So when we betray them, it becomes very, very bad. I think we can stop there. I can hand it over to Moy.
Thank you, Daktari. Daktari kuna mambo mengi ametuambia, and I don't want to repeat on them, but I just want to insist on one thing: the importance of respecting other people's views and the way they behave, because it is very, very, very important. And us as teachers, teaching is a noble profession. Sometimes when she was talking, I remembered one time when I was in standard 4 or 5, class 5, and kuna mwalimu aliniambia, ameniangalia akili yangu na ya kondoo zinakaribiana sana, na sababu tulikuwa na kondoo nyumbani. Nilienda nyumbani nikaziangalia na nikaona, kusema kweli, ni kama tunakaribiana. No, for real. And the reason why I'm saying this, the way I was brought up, tukitoka shuleni tulikuwa tunaenda kucheza, na kwetu tulikuwa na mvua sana. And in the process of kucheza nikajiangalia vile nimejipaka matope, na nikaangalia ile kondoo imeshinda kule nje inakula, ni kama tunafanana. Then there was a teacher who was called Mr. Mbego. A week or some other few days, kama nakumbuka tukiwa primary, tulikuwa tunakata makaratasi ya kitabu, unakula hiyo karatasi. Sasa huyu mwalimu akaniuliza, mwai, kwa Kikuyu akaniuliza, we ng'otu, yani kama we ni kondoo. Mimi nikasikia anauliza, wenu mko na kondoo? So because I was absent-minded, nikasema and seriously speaking, all the students started laughing at me. Na nikasema, why are they laughing at me? Na wakaniambia, umesema wewe niko? So nikaanza kujiuliza, yani mwalimu aliniambia akili yangu na ya kondoo kuna. Yeah. And for so many years, even as I was going through my primary school life, I could look at myself and wonder, am I really wolf? Ama mimi na akili yangu na ya kondoo ni kama safari nini? Zinakaribiana. Yet at the same time, I had an uncle, tunamwita baba mkubwa. Alikuwa anatuambia, hakuna mtoto anafikiria. Akili ya mtoto na ya wolf, ile inaitwa wolf, boy. Yeah, they are almost the same. And you can imagine the kind of thing that this person was doing. And what I want to talk about, just to mention, is that from a psychological point of view, behavior is learned. We can learn to behave in a particular way based on the feedback that we are given by other people. That as teachers, we have a responsibility. That the kind of feedback that we be giving the children that we are dealing with, hata kama ni amekuja amepresent ujinga kiasi gani, we have a platform whereby we can assist this child. Yeah, and as much as I'm assisting the child, I'm also assisting myself. Where am I working? Na kama nafanya kazi pale Vision, I have a responsibility of making it even better. I work with the police personally. And I keep on a day like Thursday, Friday. Now, at Christmas, it can fall on a day that people wanted to be declared a holiday. It was a Friday to Kazim, and we did it. And the other guys, they walk, and somebody else on the prayer, and so the people say amen. Honestly, we are happy. But the reason psychological, there are things that watu wengine hawajui na mimi sijui.
What I mean, where does one end and the other one begins? That's my question.
Okay, let me explain the private. The private domain I know and others don't. The private I know, others don't know. Those are my secrets. So, the hidden I don't know and others hawajui.
Yes. She told us is that you know, but you would rather die with it and not tell anybody else.
There is a private, and the hidden domain. That's what she told us. And that's why I say that in psychology, there is something that we call the conscious, the unconscious, and the preconscious. Now, when you talk about the conscious, and as in psychology, we say that we work towards empowering individuals so that most of the information they become aware. There are certain things that we do. There are certain things that we do, yet we are driven by some unconscious drives. Yeah. Kwenye drive by unconscious drive, hatujui, but we find ourselves doing what? Doing them, yet in a real sense, we don't know. Somebody can become a pastor, let me use that and you allow me. Somebody can become a pastor, and this person may be imagining that it is a calling. But because maybe of some childhood experiences, be they bad or good, they are